Julie Gunlock is the co-host of O'Connor and Company, a concerned parent in the Alexandria area. Julie, good to have you with us on the phone. Thank you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Julie, I first of all, let me emphasize something. I love Julie Gunlock. She's the best. But let me get your take on all of this, Julie. I see you tweeting about this today. You're concerned here about the fact that this is happening in the schools.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, and I'm particularly concerned about Jewish students who are going to school in Alexandria public schools, and the message to them is, we don't really care about you because we're going to allow this rally right outside of the high school, where about 100 students gathered, and you heard that chant over and over again. It was absolutely reprehensible. And what's so horrible is the new principal of that school, of Alexandria High School, Duncan, he allowed this to happen. In fact, a day before, he sent a letter to parents saying he said, "It is our understanding that tomorrow is a national day of protest related to current events in the Middle East." I love that, current events in the Middle East. So he cites this sort of larger event that's going on nationwide, which is largely being coordinated by Code Pink. He then says later, he says, as students exercise their rights to free speech during the school day tomorrow. I mean, when did that become a thing? That, it used to be that, no, get in your seat and learn things, right? But now if a student wants to exercise their right to free speech, apparently we can throw open the doors and these students can just walk out. And, and I also just love the sort of standards here. Like, let's say there were students for Trump.
I was just thinking that if students got together and like, hey, Mr. Principal, we want to do a MAGA rally tomorrow, would that be cool?
Or a pro-life rally. Yeah, let's do a pro-life rally. Okay, let's see how they react to that. But this is the interesting thing in his letter. He said, we asked the students to be safe, conduct it in a safe and respectful manner with as little disruption. What's respectful from the river to the sea? I mean, at that point, this rally went on for over 35 minutes. This wasn't like a 15-minute get out of class free card. This was a 35-minute rally where they were chanting this over and over again, so that Jewish students and any student with morals in that school could hear this. It was terrifying for those students, and there's been no discipline. There's been no comments from the mayor, from the school board chair, from any of the school board or city council members. They've just gone silent. So it's despicable.
Yeah, for sure. How do these kids have all this time to walk out of class and do whatever they want? That's another piece of this. I still don't understand. I just think back to being a kid. I would have been busted by my teacher for not doing whatever work we were supposed to be. I would have been detention, suspended. Like, the whole thing is crazy. And so the students have been bred, essentially groomed to be little activists on behalf of this. Where did they learn all this? Like, how did it get to the point where you have a bunch of high school students chanting for the destruction of Israel?
Well, I'm talking to some parents, and some parents have some thoughts on that. And one interesting thing, though, is that apparently there is growing anger among the faculty about this. They are very angry that these students were allowed to chant that. Some of the faculty want them disciplined. So it's kind of interesting that within this system, not everybody's on the same page. I want to mention one other thing. ACPS did not lower flags to half staff after October 7th, as per Youngkin's order. They refused to do it. They claim they just didn't know about it, even though Youngkin said all official state buildings and school buildings and things like that have to be, the flags have to be lowered. So I think that's really an important nugget there. I remember when that happened, and I thought, gosh, these people are so despicable. But in light of this rally being permitted, in light of the fact that this rally went on for 35 minutes with these kids chanting this genocidal message towards Jews, and it was allowed to go on, it all makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, they just missed the memo that they were supposed to lower the flags to half staff.
Yeah,
I mean, how many employees work for Alexandria City Public Schools? Like, not a single person across the entire school system was like, hey, by the way, we should probably lower those flags. You saw what the governor said.
Yeah, well, they have a habit of ignoring what Youngkin says, masks, bathroom policies, all that. They don't care. They are just sort of, they take great joy in ignoring what Youngkin says. But I did find it particularly chilling that a request from the governor like that at a time where we're all watching the horrors coming out of Israel, and they wouldn't even lower the flags. It says a lot.
It is. It's strange. And alongside chanting on behalf of terrorist attacks on Israel, that literally children, teenagers now doing that at Alexandria City High School, there's a whole bunch of other problems at that high school, isn't there? I mean, whenever I hear about the school, I don't usually hear about the educational success they had this quarter.
No. Alexandria, obviously shut down as long as it could until Duncan ordered schools open, and they even resisted that. They resisted the mask removal. They actually went to court for it. But meanwhile, the standards of learning are really low. Testing it's pretty grim when you look at the rates of our testing scores. And we had, of course, for many, many years, and through COVID, we had Gregory Hutchings, who was really sort of on the Abraham X. Kendi sort of bandwagon. And he made everything about race. It was during COVID that the high school was renamed. Many people, including me in the community, didn't really care if the high school was renamed. But I thought, don't we have bigger priorities here?
For sure.
But so the kids in Alexandria have really suffered. There's a lot of learning loss in the community. There's tremendous violence in the schools. We had guns confiscated on school grounds. We had an alleged sexual assault. This was a story that IWF broke. There was a murder at a McDonald's just adjacent from the school.
I know, that poor shopping center is like right nearby there.
Yeah.
These kids just keep causing chaos there, and everyone just keeps throwing their hands up like, well, hopefully it gets better.
Well, sorry. Right. And meanwhile, they're talking about changing, names, Civil War names in of street names in the city. I mean, it's bonkers. They continually, between the mayor and the city council and the school board, they ignore the real problems and concentrate on things that ultimately do not matter to the well-being of the people of Alexandria and the students enrolled in the public schools.
Yeah, they concentrate on frivolous nonsense and instead of fixing how everything is supposed to be running there. It's just amazing. And you've been on this for a while, Julie. So honestly, God bless you for it. Thank you for digging in here. I know I'm seeing your tweet thread today, and it's annoying me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. It's it's one thing. It's happening on these college campuses, which have become breeding grounds for this type of insane radicalism. Yeah. But now you're watching it at high schools too. It's all over the place.
Well, and Vince, I will tell you, I got my kids out of that school years ago. My kids are all very safely tucked away in different schools now. They're very far away from Alexandria City Public Schools. But there are kids still in those schools who cannot, for whatever reason, cannot get out. And so if you have gotten your kids out of the public schools, don't stop paying attention to what's going on. Still get active, still pay attention, because, ultimately these are the people we have to live with. These poor kids are not being educated in these schools. And now it looks like they're being allowed to do things that are downright horrible.
Yeah, and they're also going to become voters. Like they're going to be the people who structure what your community looks like going forward. So you have every right to be interested in how these schools are being operated, especially because you're a taxpayer. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not. You should be very interested in what kind of citizens these institutions are producing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Oh, it's just crazy. Anyway, I can't say enough good things about Julie Gunlock and O'Connor and Company. So if you like Julie Gunlock, you're gonna love O'Connor and Company. Listen every morning at 5 to 9 a.m. Julie, thank you so much.